Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Study Abroad Week session, info session with BADA. Without further ado, I will turn things over to Seth.
Great. Hello, my name is Seth Dranginis. I am from the British American Drama Academy. I am one of the few Americans in the organization, which is why I don't have the interesting accent. I apologize for that. Unfortunately, everybody else is over in London, and the time difference makes it hard for them to come with us today. I am going to start a little slideshow that'll run in the background. It's a collection of photos from our program. You'll see photos of our building, the accommodations in London, a few testimonials. It won't directly sync up with what I'm saying, but if you see something that you have a question about, feel free to chime in later or even as we're going along. So I'm here to talk to you a bit about our London Theatre program, which is BADA's semester-long study abroad conservatory acting program. So it is an intense 14-week conservatory that would give you the experience basically of the first semester of attending a British drama school. And what that means in general is that it's not like a traditional college semester. You don't have just 1 or 2 classes a day with long breaks in between. We are a rigorous program. We expect you to be with us starting at 9 in the morning, ready to go. You're with us until 6 p.m. every night. And then at least one night a week, you're also coming out to the theater with us as part of the program. So one of the things that we say is be prepared, make sure you get lots of sleep before you come over, because you do hit the ground running and it doesn't really stop at all during the course of the program. During the program, it's divided into 2 different main sections. The first section, which is the first 8 weeks, is the classes portion. And so during that period, you will be taking 3 different scene study classes, 1 in Shakespeare, 1 in high comedy, and 1 in physical theater. You'll also be taking 3 technique classes, 1 in voice, 1 in movement, and 1 in stage combat, focusing on hand-to-hand combat. Additionally, there are 2 academic courses. There is a theater history course and a dramatic criticism course. And then you'll also have regular tutorial sessions, which are an opportunity to work one-on-one with a faculty member, focusing on audition technique and preparing your portfolio of audition pieces. At the end of that period, actually, sorry, I'll go back a sec. Additionally, during that period, you have the weekly theater visits, which are tied into your dramatic criticism class. So you will go to the theater as a whole group each week. And then you will come in and talk about those pieces in your dramatic criticism class and work on writing about theater, understanding how to communicate and assess theater, and understanding how dramatic criticism feeds into and connects to theater history and understanding of where a piece fits within the broader scope of theatrical tradition. The final component of the first 8 weeks is our master classes. So every week you'll have a master class with a theater practitioner or somebody connected to one of the performances that you have seen or you're about to see. So for example, if you do a theater visit and we take you to Shakespeare's Globe to see a play, this year they saw Romeo and Juliet. We then had both the actor who played Romeo and the actor who played Juliet come and talk to us and talk to the students afterwards about their experience putting on the performance. Sometimes it's other actors, sometimes it's the director or the writer. Other times we'll bring in a technique expert. So it could be somebody with a particular specialty in movement, or we've done master classes with improv. Most recently, we had a masterclass guest who leads a theater for people with disabilities. So she is a profoundly deaf creative director. And so she did this masterclass with our students using a sign language interpreter throughout the program to interact with the students and do work with them. The other possibility for the masterclasses might be one of the members of BADA's broader community, people who are either our council members or our patrons. So our patron right now is Brian Cox. Brian obviously is based in New York to film. If he's in, he will often stop in for a masterclass or to do a chat with the students. Otherwise, we have people like Fiona Shaw, Henry Goodman, directors like Deb Warner, or occasionally it'll be a designer. We've had Jenny Bevan, who is the Oscar-winning designer behind Mad Max, come in and talk to students about how her creative process and how that ties into performance and the actor's execution of their job on a film set or in a. So that's roughly the first 8 weeks of the program. Then you get a short break. The end of that break, you come back and it's our rehearsal and performance period. So during that period, we will divide you up into different groups independently with a professional theater director, rehearsing and eventually performing a piece. A piece could be Shakespeare, it could be something a little more modern, comedy. And this is an opportunity for students to take using and what they've been learning over the previous 8 weeks and put that into practice. So you actually putting those techniques on their feet, using the skills you've been learning, and actually understanding how it translates from the classroom to the rehearsal and performance space. All of our directors are professional directors, so they are running their rehearsal rooms. They are paid to be there. So they expect a certain, and they understand that you're in school, but they expect a level of professionalism and seriousness. And it's an important process to actually have that experience at the end, working with the director. In addition, you'll have daily warm-ups with members of our technique faculty. So you might have a movement warm-up 3 days a week and voice warm-up 2 days a week, which is just another opportunity for you to continue learning and continue understanding how you translate some of those skills and techniques into professional quality work. At the end of that period, you will then put on a performance in a London theater for an invited audience of your classmates, your faculty, and other members of the BADA family who are in London at that time. They're welcome to join us at the performance, and also to join us the following day for a farewell party at BADA offices in North London. So that's a fairly rough sketch overview of the program. I'll ask if there are any questions at this point. If not, I'll continue talking a little bit more about where BADA is based and the student accommodations. Right, so BADA, we are based in North London, just off of Regent's Park, which is a lovely large park in North London. The home of the American ambassador is on the far side of the park from us, and the London is just around the corner from us. We are in a Crown Estate building, which is a historic building that is actually owned by what's known as the Crown Estate, which are the properties that at one point were privately owned by the royal family, but have since been apportioned off and are managed by an outside group. So it's this lovely historic building in a historic neighborhood. Many of the other tenants on our part of the street are private residences. There are a few ambassadorial residences nearby, but it's this lovely sort of old-fashioned London neighborhood. But we are just up the street, as you can see from this map, from Camden Town. Camden Town is a vibrant neighborhood that has been sort of one of the homes in London of art and fashion and music going back to the 1970s. If you're familiar with the artist Amy Winehouse, there's actually a statue of her in Camden because that's where she was living and recording during her career. The accommodations for the program are actually just on the far side of Camden from BADA, about a 15-minute walk from our building. And it's a lovely walk because you get to walk right through the center of town. You're in a facility that is run by an organization called the Stay Club. And so every student gets their own private studio apartment, which has a kitchenette and a private bathroom with a shower facility. And it's this great mix of you having your own private space, but within the building, there are a number of common spaces. There's a cafe area, there's a number of lounges, there are classroom spaces that you can book to rehearse or to do homework in, laundry facilities, a gym. And with the Stay Club Camden Town, one of the biggest perks, I think, is that across the street is Camden Market. And Camden Market is this great, I see you nodding your head there, Sarah, is this amazing collection of shops and purveyors and food vendors. There's over 1,000 different stalls or stores within Camden Market. And you can get everything from Mongolian food to vinyl to antique fashion. There are all sorts of different little pockets within this large complex, and it's right across the street but at the same time, it's this lovely, very quiet building, so you plenty of time to study. And because it is an accommodation specifically intended for students, it draws students from all over the UK who are studying in London, or from Europe and other programs with Americans studying in the UK. So it's this great mix where you have the opportunity to meet and mingle with other students, while then spending your time at the program with your fellow students who are all attending the London Theatre program. So that's more or less the accommodation. I will say that the program is by audition. So you have to audition for the program. Otherwise, we have a fairly simple web form that you have to fill out. You need a couple recommendations. Sarah can help you with all of that when the time comes. And for the audition, we ask you to prepare 3 things. The first is a Shakespeare monologue. It needs to be in verse and no more than 2 minutes. The second piece is a monologue of your choice. Can be from anything. If you want to do a second Shakespeare, we'd love to see that. If you would like to do a modern piece from a more recent piece of theater, that's great. Again, no more than 2 minutes. And the final piece we need is a song. Now, many of you are quite accomplished singers, but if you are not, that's fine. It's really not an exercise in singing or vocal quality. It is much more an opportunity for you to showcase your storytelling ability. So what is the story of the song? What is the message that it's trying to get across? And that's what the dean is looking for when she evaluates an audition. And I think that the other major point that I should emphasize just before I ask if there are any more questions is on our course, everyone who you work with, all of the faculty are professional practitioners. So that means, and I mean from our dean on down, if they're an actor, they're a working actor. They are, our dean filmed 3 different projects over the course of the pandemic, one of which is coming out this coming month, one of which is a mini series about the pandemic starring Kenneth Branagh that's going to be premiering, I think, next spring. So if they're an actor, they are a working actor. Another one of our faculty members has a recurring role in Bridgerton. If they're a director, they're a working director. They're out directing, working with professional actors in London. Or if they're one of our technique faculty, that means that they are offering private coaching to professionals. They are doing movement direction for productions. One of our movement faculty this fall will be the director of movement for a production at the Royal Shakespeare Company next spring. A different one of our faculties used to be the head of movement at the Globe under Mark Rylance. So they are professionals working at the highest levels of their careers. And one of the great things about training at BADA is that it's one of the few places that an American student can come and have access to those people, to work with those people, that caliber. And because we have a faculty that pulls from all over, we do get faculty who also train students at Lambda or at RADA or at Bristol Old Vic. But BADA is one of the few places that you will find, and as an American, it's perhaps the only place you can find in London where you can train with all of them in a semester. So that's a fairly rapid rundown. If there's anything that I missed, Sarah, or you think that students would like to know more about, I'm happy to go back and fill in, or Sahana, if you have any questions.
Yeah, I don't know if I didn't catch this, but do we set a performance as part of this? Is there a performance at the end, or is it just learning the whole time?
There is a performance at the end, but at the performance, you get one night performance at the end of the rehearsal process. But while it is a performance, it's not about a finished product. It's much more about using the skills and understanding how the things you've been learning translate into the rehearsal process and eventually a performance, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Sarah, anything from your perspective that I missed or that you would like to know more about?
Do you know if the auditions are going to be completely virtual again this year?
Our dean desperately hopes that she will be in person at Northwestern in March. If there is any wiggle room in the laws, she will be there. It was one of the great disappointments of this past period for her that she wasn't able to come over this fall to audition students for this spring. If she cannot make it over because of reasons beyond our control, it will be online, but we have a great online platform. We usually have our admissions coordinator running the audition room. We usually also have an alum of one of the programs in the waiting room ready to talk to anybody who has questions about the program. So if we can't be there in person, we do our best to model it on the in-person experience, including giving everybody who auditions a chance to talk to the dean, ask any questions that they have after the audition is over.
Cool. Yeah, fingers crossed that she's able to make it. Well,
Oh, she's trying.
yep.
We do have one faculty member who is sending us photos from Greece. He has just gone over to Greece for a professional opportunity, and it's the first bit of international travel we've had in the organization. And everybody is incredibly jealous and also not all that thrilled to be getting these photos of lovely beaches. So just these are going by. This is a photo from the State Club in Camden, which is located, if you follow, well, I was about to say, let me go back actually. So the State Club accommodation is just up here. Oh, I paused, that's why. Okay, sorry about that. I meant to do this. And it's not cooperating. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. I'll go back and lock it in. Just to give you an idea of where the accommodation is. Nope. Sorry about that. Of course, it's not going to cooperate today. There we go. All right. Now it's cooperating. So you can see this is where BADA is located here. And then the accommodations are just up here. So it's a 15-minute walk. You get to cross the canal in London. You could come over this way, swing through Primrose Hill. I actually love to do this walk down through Primrose Hill, which has some lovely, very lovely, very high-end neighborhoods with little squares with parks in the middle. And then we're located right here at our garden overlooks the park. And then it's just a quick, if you hop on the tube here in Camden, it's just a quick, it's about 15 minutes down to the West End or to the Thames River. And so a little bit across the river to get to the Globe or the National Theatre. And I think that's it as an overview.
All right, outstanding. Well, thank you so much for being here, Seth. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. And of course, if any students who couldn't join us today are interested and want to have more than just the recording, I'm happy to schedule another session for them. Or if they have any questions after watching the recording, it's easy enough to hop on Zoom and have a one-on-one.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, have a good day.
You too. Stay warm.
Yeah.